welcome to Sports Console, your playbook for all things sports. I'm your host Matt, and I'm here with Gemmar and Bryant for this episode of the show. We are officially midway through the 2025 NFL season, which means it's time for the 2025 Mid Report. We discuss some of the most middling fantasy performers so far this season, including some names that may surprise you. Plus, our fellow guest podcaster recaps Week 9 in the Listener League, and we share our starts and sits for Week 10. Today is November 4th, 2025, and this is episode 194 of the show.
Hey guys, if you usually listen, or if you're not a usual listener to this show here, I really recommend checking out our Listener League conversation this week around. Just skip directly to that. It's a really good one once you know the topic.
That's a hell of a way to start. Yeah. Welcome back, Gemmar. Welcome back, Bryant, who is back after, a campaign across Eastern Europe, I believe?
Yes, sir. I was in Albania and Hungary, and I somehow found myself at multiple political rallies. Might have sworn American allegiance to certain militia groups there, so I could be on a watch list now, but, it's great to be back in the USA.
It's always a good thing to say that on a podcast.
Yeah, we got too many allegations already on this podcast.
Enemy out of state right here. Uh-oh.
We've had 2 international trips so far out of our couple podcasters. I know Dylan is going to be embarking on one as well. And speaking of which, we have our Listener League recap, like Bryant said. So why don't we just go straight into it? Very interesting stuff that happened. And we had a very special guest recap it for us. And if you're not interested at all, but I do highly recommend you listen to it, like Bryant said, you can always skip ahead. I believe it should be out after the 28-minute mark at the time of this recording. But if you don't want to listen to it, you can skip ahead to that. But here's our Listener League recap. All right, this is the Week 9 Listener League recap, and we had another very special week. And what better way to recap it than by bringing on a special guest of the show, podcaster himself, the very handsome as always, Mr. Dylan. How are you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing great, Matthew. Thank you. And just for the fact, we're all handsome in this podcast.
Oh,
it's
you
not
got
just
me
one
blushing.
person.
Thank
it's
you.
not just
Thank
one
you.
person.
Yes, thanks for supporting beautiful men, Dylan.
Yes.
But today, I am here as a guest speaker to do the recap. We'll start off with this matchup between Ugly Kid and D Romeo 7, with Ugly Kids losing to D Romeo with a score of 114.44 to 137.76. Yes.
I think he would love it if you said the name, the team name.
Oh, sorry. Let me pull it up right now. Ugly Kid's name, Useless Waste of Sperm, against the Romeo
Jesus,
Celtics. This shows how rusty I am, but yes. Useless Waste of Sperm loses to the Celtics.
I don't know what happened here. What happened, man?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I remember Ugly Kid running the show last year, and he was killing all of us. But yeah, I mean,
what surprises me is that the Eagles were on bye, and the Celtics team auto-drafted basically all Eagles. So if all the Eagles are on bye, I really thought this would be pretty easy for Ugly Kid, but I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs had 5 points, and Ladd had less than 10, Addison less than 10. Rasheed, he had a good game as always, but man, I don't know. I thought Ugly Kid was really on a hot streak there.
This dude ran the double tight formation.
You can't do that on national tight then. Oh, wait. It was Celtics who ran it. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really do super well, but I mean, whatever works.
Yeah, I feel bad for my fellow seller mates down at the bottom of the Listener League matchup, me and the Ugly Kid. I think both of us are starting to get the winnings a bit, but unfortunate loss there, man. Keep on. Next week will be better.
Just gotta keep moving along. Speaking of moving along, we have our next matchup. We have our fellow podcaster, Bryant, 2026 Waiting Room, beating G.Cassie, 4th Down Syndrome, with a score of 116.10 to 115.28. What a nail biter in this matchup.
116.02. It was a very narrow margin of less than 1 point there. And I honestly thought I was cooked coming into the last game.
Oh, you have Dak.
I had a Dak and Pickens stacked there, And then at the end of the first half, I saw the score like what the hell are the Cowboys doing? Like, GG, it's kind of cooked. But
Do you know how many points you were down by? Like heading into Monday night?
I was probably down like, because I think I remember the percentage chance like 60%. So I'm gonna guess I was down maybe like 18, 20 points maybe. Somewhere between 15 and 20 points, I would wager. But then, yeah, somehow the Cowboys in their garbage time bailed me out of a terrible week. Brashard Smith, 0.7 points. Rome Odunze, 0 points. Yeah, not a fun one. But Drake London, 38.
Yeah, your guy.
You love him.
USC. Go USC.
That's my guy.
And
right on.
And I see you have, who's it, the kicker? Fairbairn?
Fairbairn?
Yeah.
He's the number one kicker, I think, right now after this week. That guy's on a hot streak on a offense in Texans that just don't score touchdowns. So that's why we have him.
This was super dramatic, by the way, on Monday night because you won by 1 point and you needed every single Dak run and Pickens catch, every PPR point right there. And I think Dak threw an interception at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That was going to be -1. So if our scoring settings were -2, which is in the money league, it's -2 for interceptions, I believe. I mean, you would have been toast. Like I think Jamar was in the group chat and he was just like saying, "No, is it -1 or -2?" And it was not.
That's a rough one. No, I thought it was going to be, because I was looking at the box score before I looked at Sleeper, and I thought like Pickens like fumbled twice or something, but I didn't realize it's only fumbles lost that cost you points. And I guess both of his were recovered.
Wow, that's crazy, actually.
Dude, I'll be really anxious if like my quarterback threw a pick like last minute and I'm like on a
It was also a really stupid pick too. It was like the dumbest pick I've ever seen.
It's like 4th and 28 or something.
he just threw it straight to the defender. But yeah.
Yeah.
If I lost off of that, I'll quit. I'll be held
crash
pissed.
out.
The beautiful game of fantasy.
Our next matchup, we have fellow podcaster alumni Gav Tangalicious G, otherwise known as the Better Women Respecters, beating Decker 99 or Josh O with a score 131.20 to 115.42. He is definitely putting respect on the women right now.
I don't know. I feel like everybody's in the same level of they're kind of dangerous. And, Gav, Chase Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Sam Darnold, it's a great addition there, honestly. I think he was the one who lost Joe Burrow, and now Sam Darnold's kind of adding it. But this is the first time someone's beat Josh in a very long time. So, respect to Gav, for sure.
It's an impressive one.
Hey, any win is a win, right?
Exactly.
And shout out to Sam Darnold, 4 TDs. Ooh, Sam Laporta. Gotta give him credit too. Oh, he has he also ran a double tight end formation against Josh or Decker 99.
That's what everyone running double tight end after I did it. Come on, get your own thing.
Everyone's getting hurt, man. We got to resort to tight end. That's how desperate it is this year. I think I did that in this league earlier this year too.
I did it with Trey McBride or not even Trey McBride, Zach Ertz and Michael Mayer.
Disgusting. I'm pretty sure you lost that.
I probably did. But congratulations, Gab. Hope you're doing well. And to our next matchup, we have fellow podcaster, alumni, or current podcaster, Nando losing to Microphone Assassins or J-Rocks Ekins with a score 130.62 to 142.14. Oh, he has Kyle Pitts. I think that's one reason why he lost. Generational tight end, not being generational.
I think it's more of the fact that, I mean, when you score 130, you can't be too mad. He had decent production from most of his guys. And the saddest thing is that J-Rocks E-Kittens had 0 points from 2 players, and Booty got hurt without scoring anything. Jeremy McNichols got 1 carry for 0 yards. So then, how did he win this with 142 points with 2 starters not playing anything? Rico Dowdle, Jackson Dart, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Mark Andrews, all popped off. Just unfortunate to be on the other side of that. I mean, Nando was pretty optimistic. Debo?
What
Yeah.
Debo with the pedestrian 9.4?
Yeah, we don't talk about Debo anymore. He's nothing anymore. Nothing to this podcast. Nothing to the people here. So
Nothing
What's-
to the Bay Area.
What would you say is worse for you guys? Like, would you rather lose a game by like 1 point or less, or you lose against someone and they have like two guys that scored 0 points or have like negative points on their team? Which one do you think stings the most?
I think the latter. I think, or what stings the most? I think losing
Or-
by one. Losing by one or winning. Yeah, losing by 1 point. That would stay with me for a while rather than like getting beat by another team whose players that has like zero points.
I agree.
I think that's not so
Yeah.
bad. You kind of gotta respect that.
I guess that makes sense because that just means the other guys really popped up. Whereas 1 point, you're probably just like kicking yourself, like, shoot, if I just made that switch or this guy just caught another pass, right? I'd be winning. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more on me if it's 1 point.
You gotta capitalize. If the other team has two goose eggs, you gotta take advantage.
Hmm.
I was gonna put in a Blue Jays Dodgers thing, but
Fuck
that
the
thing's still
Dodgers.
fresh.
Fuck the
That
Dodgers.
thing's still, yeah, that
Fuck
thing's still.
the
I was-
Dodgers.
I was at one of the bars that's right across the street from the Giants stadium because I was there watching the USC game. And of course, a bunch of games on were at that time. So there was a great hate watch going on. All the Giants fans or all the fans there, right, cheering every time the Blue Jays did anything. Then once Yamamoto came back on the mound, I just kind of knew, oh shoot, I can see the storyline, the headlines right now. Yamamoto pulls off a heroic comeback for the Dodgers, and there
MVP.
it was. So MVP.
Those trophies are meaningless. They bought them, so
They're pay to
bought
win,
them.
man. Paying to win.
They bought them with their boosters.
exactly.
And now we'll go to our second to last matchup of the week. We have fellow podcaster Matt, or YMC3, younger than ever, losing to King Mitty, or King Mitty Whoop'em, with a score of 106.56 to 124.50. Matt, I remember earlier this week you said, fuck Mitty and fuck the Bears. Is that correct?
Well, that came after I lost, so yes, I guess that remains true. Whenever I face Mitty, I get irritated, especially since I lost to him in the playoffs last year. I wanted to get a little bit of revenge, but oh my god, my team is so inconsistent. We scored 130 something points last week, or 145 last week. Now we had the worst score in the league, and I just hate how inconsistent these young men have been. We need to shapen up, to end the season, go on a run, because we're 5-4 right now, and that's inexcusable. I trained them better than this. But honestly, it's been hard because there's been so many injuries. I'm dealing with Pearsall being out, Benson's out, Hampton now it seems like he's going to be out for an extended period of time, and then Tucker Kraft, man, he tore his
What
ACL.
happened to Tucker?
That's a heartbreaker.
It's so heartbreaking because honestly, guys, like I shit on tight ends a lot in this show. I always say that the least valuable player on your team, but he was really starting to grow on me, man. He was the first tight end I might have ever loved, right there. So it's really sad to hear. So prayers out for him. Happy birthday, Tucker. But also, sorry to see you go.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Mr. Kraft and Cheese.
Yeah. Come back. I'll give my ACL to you, bro.
I think, Matt, it also doesn't help when Evan Ingram has a goose egg and still beats you.
What made me upset a little bit is that he actually has a really good team, Mitty does. Jonathan Taylor's really good. JSN's good. Puka's good. Like, I thought I was going to get destroyed because there was 3, I think they're wide receiver 1, 2, and RB1. But JT actually had a bad game. Vidal had a bad game in his lineup. Ingram had a goose egg. So it was in reach. So it's up to my young men to get it together. What's going on, guys?
Disciplined. They're just not disciplined this week.
Yeah. Got to shape up.
Well, while you figure that issue out, on the last matchup, we have my team, whole lot of baby mamas, beating fellow podcaster G, or I guess he's really airing it out right now because his team name is fucking trash ass team, with a score of 161.62 to 142.80. And I have the highest score of the week. I remember before the weekend started or before Sunday, like I think I had a projected percentage of like 33% chance of winning. But my guy, Brock Bowers, University of Georgia tight end alumni, came through for me. 43 points, 3 TDs, 1 in overtime, came through. The knee is good. We're firing in all cylinders right now. I mean, where's my guy? I got Devontae. I know you want, or was it Jalen Warren?
Yeah, give me him.
We're good.
Dylan.
You want you want Jalen Warren?
Give me him and Bijan.
And Brock Bowers. Triple. I need a big package. I need like.
I'll take Brock Bowers too. Sure.
Yeah, just give Matt your whole team. I'm sure Matt would love that.
Yeah, Devontae, I don't need. He's too old. But everyone else, you can give it to me.
My guy came back. Even though the Raiders played like shit, he still came through. He came through for me. That's what's important. Just for
Dylan,
me.
he was thinking of you. He was thinking of you every second. For every touchdown catch, it was Dylan.
Dude, I was going crazy, man. Like the past few weeks, it's been like down in the dumps. Cause I mean, I lost Tyreek, and I didn't know when Brock Bowers is gonna come back, so I had to like use Michael Mayer and like Zach Ertz, figuring out what I can do. But now I feel much more comfortable.
You held on. You got rewarded. As for G, he falls for his 5th straight loss.
Good try, buddy.
Yikes. 4-0 to start, then the 5-game slide?
I invited him to come on to the recap tonight, and he politely declined because he said, quote, I have nothing left to say about my team right now.
I think he should come. I think if he comes, he can explain why his team is not performing right now.
I think he knows. It's like, I think it's at this point, I thought it was a no-win October situation, but we're in November now. So obviously he's cursed. I think Mitty put a curse on him ever since he beat him. And it's just, I don't know. He was talking.
I remember that week he was talking a lot.
Yeah.
That he's gonna run Mitty. He's gonna run Mitty to the ground. He's gonna like gap him. He's gonna Mariana Trench him and stuff like that. But
Mariana Trench him. That's what happens when you disrespect family ties like that. You get cursed.
We wish you were here, G.
Man. It's going to be a competition all the way till the end. And Dylan, you got a big matchup. You better hope that Brock Bowers comes for you next week, because the annual rivalry that comes once a season is here. It's Team Nando versus Team Dylan. I want to hear some of your, pregame thoughts before that matchup.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to this matchup. I didn't make it up from last year. I think Nando got me during the playoffs when I think I forgot to put a kicker in. But regardless of that, I still lost.
That was not the playoffs. That was the toilet bowl, by the way.
That was the toilet bowl. Still the playoff, some sort of playoffs. But he's in the way of my championship, and I need to go through him. And my team is ready. We were able to drop 160. I think we're ready to drop another big one next week.
That's some strong words right there, Dylan. Let's see what happens. It's always a fun matchup.
You still got like Josh Jacobs, James Cook, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you kind of have to respect that a little bit.
For sure.
But looking forward to the matchup next week.
All right.
That'll be a spicy one.
So, Dylan, as you said earlier, you are now the high-scoring topic in the Listener League. This is your first time doing it this season. What do you have in store for us?
So, this is my first, for me in general, just the first question to ask group. So, my question of the podcast, or this week, is, would you have a gay son or ABG daughter?
Oh.
This is a very...
Wow.
Okay.
Very Bay Area, I would say very Bay Area type of...
It's a controversial topic. It's a nice
topic, yes.
It's a nice spin on the classic gay son or a thought daughter, but yeah, it's a bit more of a Bay Area flair.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think we can collectively go through both sides. However,
I wanna say first off that I would love any child of mine in a great and loving way, and I would accept them for who they are as a person. It doesn't necessarily mean that one is worse than the other or inferior to another. I think we can all say that, right, gentlemen?
I think
Yeah.
everyone has their own way of expressing themselves.
Yes.
And-
just checking. Just checking.
Or you
they
can,
sh-
or you just
They
say
shouldn't
this.
be shamed about it.
Yes.
Or you can just say instead, Matt, I think you just got to say, disclaimer, we're not homophobic and we would love our children.
Yeah, and
This is
also
all fun and jokes, you know?
not all ABGs are thoughts too. Hopefully.
We're not objectifying all all APGs.
I don't know.
Okay,
Let's start with the gay son. I think I kind of like this one because the reason why is I think one tough thing nowadays is just trying to like conversate with people nowadays, right? Regardless of like how you identify, right?
Okay.
So with a gay son, like you can talk. I think he can be comfortable talking to whoever he wants to talk to, right? So I think just having that social skill, because I think communicating is a social. It's a major social skill, obviously, right?
I don't know what I'm not following necessarily here though, because I mean, sure, he can communicate, but you don't think the ABG daughter can communicate or something? Or like are you saying like you feel like you can communicate with the gay son better?
I just think about it like being supportive. Like
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
this is just being supportive with him, like regardless of like what he does. Oh, this is really tough. Now
That's very
to,
wholesome.
It's okay. I'll bail you out. I'll bail you out over here. Unless you have more to add.
No, I
now.
don't have more. I just
right.
want to say I just want to support him. That's it.
That's a good way to put it there. And for those who aren't familiar with Bay Area culture, if you're an out-of-state listener there, ABG stands for Asian Baby Girl. And as you might know, the Bay Area has a very high Asian population. And the stereotype around the ABG is a female who goes to a lot of rave events. They probably have Labubu keychains. They probably have a vape somewhere, long eyelashes. And they go to one of the few prestigious high schools and colleges out there in the Bay Area. So that's kind of setting the stage, if you will, from kind of what if you're not confused with what the ABG daughter is. And for my position on topic is looking at the ABG daughter. So I'm thinking for myself, right? If I'm, a father in the future, I want to have a successful children there. And this is what I'm about to say. This is purely just based off of the numbers, right? The ABG daughter, part of the stereotype is that they either go to like Stanford or UCLA or Cal, so elite academic institutions, or, they're just majoring in computer science or business. So, their rate of success in life, despite, the lifestyle of raves and smoking and whatnot, they have a very good chance of being, or they have a very high chance of being successful in life just based off of their majors and kind of what they're studying. Their potential earning income is quite high. And being from the Bay Area, they'll probably find themselves in an AI startup in the near future. And that's kind of what you want to have for your children, right? You want your children to work for an AI startup and get funded by Elon Musk, right? So setting that for the
Y
ABG daughter.
Combinator.
Exactly,
okay,
Y Combinator.
wait,
That's the word right there.
You have a very different way of like your ABGs that you've met are much different from the ABGs I've met then, because
What's your experience?
I've never met an ABG that's gone to Stanford. SJSU maybe, but not Stanford.
SJSU, yes. Well, I'm saying no, for the Stanford ones, a lot of this is part of the Asian mindset is right, academic vigorousness, but once you hit the college, once you find the raves and the big time, well, there you go. You become the ABG at that point there. And let me just say, this doesn't mean I'm not saying if you're a gay son, you can't be, successful or as successful in life. And I know multiple gay men who are extremely successful. I'm just saying purely from the numbers, right? Knowing you have an ABG daughter, very high chance that they are going to be, successful in their endeavors, especially being from the Bay Area there. So that's my argument. As terrible as this probably sounds post-production for the ABG daughter.
Interesting perspective in terms of,
That was great.
life. I don't know. I didn't know that the career path of ABG was that. I always assumed they were nursing majors at SJSU, and I thought they were kind of just more like in that kind of ilk, and not like, oh, they're software engineers at like Elon Musk's company. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty lucrative. And maybe I should know more about ABGs. Maybe I need to do more research on that. But
yeah,
God,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think part of that, I think part of that is just on Twitter. I'm part of that might have just been what I've seen on Twitter more these days, just AI startups in the Bay Area, that kind of trend too. But maybe that blended over into my thought, but that's where I'm at.
I feel like either one of these guys are not going to watch sports with me. I feel like the gay son
You don't
and
know.
the ABG daughter. I mean, the ABG daughter is going to be out somewhere with some dude named
Where?
Kevin Nguyen. And
Kevin Nguyen,
they're going to be
yes.
out at, Slander, at the rave. She's probably, I don't know.
Doing activities.
Yeah, she's doing something out there. Or they're, driving out in a Bugatti at night while I'm watching Sunday Night Football. Gay son's probably doing something else in his room or whatever. I don't know. So I feel like neither of them are going to watch sports with me. So that's a big, both of them lose in that case. I think in terms of what I'd rather have, I feel like I'd still be able to connect more with the gay son than the ABG daughter at that case. Because maybe I'm going to be an overprotective parent, but I feel like the gay son would be a little safer. I feel like the ABG daughter is going out and doing too much out there. I don't want her hanging around with, the Kevin Nguyen's or like
For the wrong crowd.
Yeah, some big white dude. So, yeah. Gay son will stay in the house.
You don't want to have a daughter at Pico Tea, at going to a rave at Pico Tea
I don't
at
care.
midnight?
Pico's fine, whatever. I'm more concerned about the raves and the parking garage meetups and shit like that.
The underground parking garage. Or the garage complexes.
This is aggressively Bay Area coded, but yes.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, have we talked about this topic at length enough? I think we've reached our decisions.
I think this is the final podcast after this.
ABGs, if you want to express your opinion, please come our way. And show us what the stereotype is really like. Or if we're wrong about everything.
Yeah, we'll keep the Sports Council DMs open. So yeah, ABGs, please DM us.
Yes. Sports_council on all platforms. All right. We're going to toss it back over to the show. All right. Well, thank you, Dylan, so much for that recap. Jamar, I'm sure you have some discussion you wanna bring to that.
I wanna bring my 2 cents into this. Look, I just gotta say, out of the options, who's gonna break your bank more? And that's the ABG daughter. So I'm
Yes.
picking the gay son.
There
know?
you go.
Damn.
There
Like-
you go.
Like the daughter's gonna
gay
go to
sons.
rave. Exactly. Because not only will you be an ally, which we all are, you know what I'm saying? And plus you'll save money, and he's hanging out with the guys and the girls. So it's the best of both worlds for my son. A little diversity. He's not just hanging out with just girls. You don't gotta worry about the wrong guys potentially, but
Yeah, Brad and Chad.
yeah, exactly.
Bad.
Yeah, you don't gotta worry about no Brad and Chad or Kevin or Luke. You don't gotta worry about no frat boys. You just got some nice woke girlfriends and guy friends for my son.
Yep, guys. Yeah, stay woke. Stay woke out there.
All right. Let's get into the mid report right here.
Mid.
We are mid report. It is the midway point of the 2025 NFL season. We have 18 weeks in it, and we just finished week 9, so we're at the halfway point. It's more than the midway point for fantasy football because usually your season ends, the regular season for fantasy ends around week 14, so we only actually have 5 weeks left to get your playoff pushes in order. So I think this is a good point as any to kind of take a look at the field so far and evaluate things properly. The midseason is as good a point of any to do that. And that's why we do this mid-report every year. It's not just a mid-report of midway through the season, but it's also a mid-report of reporting the most mid players so far this fantasy season. And so we're going to play a little game here, and we do this every year, where I've picked a couple of candidates at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in terms of if they are the most middling player in fantasy football. And then later on, we're going to leave it to a vote on social media. You guys are going to be able to vote on who you think is Mr. Mid 2025. We're going to get started here. Gemmar and Bryant are our contestants for today, and we are going to start with the quarterback position. So, this quarterback, he is the quarterback 8 or 9. His first 3 games were outside of the top 12. But the 4 of his last 5 games, he has averaged quarterback 8 or higher numbers. Who is this quarterback?
Oh, bro.
Actually, correct myself. He is QB 9 on the year. QB 9. So he's not one at the top of the top.
That's interesting.
I want to say my first guess. I want to say it's Drake May, because as of late he's been on a heater, and so with his team, like the Patriots. So yeah, that's my first guess. Like my initial thought.
You don't think that's a little too low for him?
I mean, because he doesn't have like a high rushing upside, but I just see like the last 4 games. I think he's been awesome. So I could see top 5 finishes.
So Gemmar is locked in Drake May. Bryant, do you have a guess?
Yeah. Well, I would guess Caleb Williams because I have him in a couple leagues. I know he's right around that QB8 to QB 10 slot, but I don't think 4 of his last 5 are QB8 or higher. He had at least 2 bad games recently. This last game was really good. First 3 games outside of the top 12, I'm trying to remember at this point. That seems so far away.
I'll also give you guys another hint. This guy probably was not drafted in your leagues.
Oh, it's definitely not Drake May then. Hold on.
How about I give you a multiple choice this time, because it's hard to do it off the rip. All right?
Yeah. Mac Jones.
Is it A, Sam Darnold, B, Jared Goff, C, Matthew Stafford, or D, Jackson Dart?
Ooh. I will say, I was going to say like Caleb Williams my first thought, but then actually Sam Darnold was my next guess actually, because I feel like I can see him in that range, and I feel like it kind of lines up with the description for it. So without any further thought, I'm just going to go with what would have been my actual guess of Sam Darnold.
I'm definitely going to guess Jackson Dart, because I don't think it's Sam Darnold, because I remember of the 3 first games, he played Tampa and he went off in that game. I know that for sure.
It is C, Matthew Stafford. He is quarterback 9 on the season. I don't believe he was drafted too much in people's drafts. I don't think he was in ours, at least. The first 3 games, quarterback 14 or less. He was quarterback 20, quarterback 19, quarterback 14. The 4 of the last 5 games, QB2, QB8, QB26, QB4, and QB8. Matthew Stafford.
I mean, I can certainly see that. He's one of those teams where I feel like the Rams are like, in the beginning of the season, well, they're just in the same bucket as like the Niners. But now they've had a lot of great games. Stafford's popping off like he always is there, and they're right back in contention. It's honestly one of the elite teams out there in NFC. So I can definitely see that.
I think the biggest thing is that with Stafford this season compared to last season and previous seasons before is that Kyron was getting a lot of the touchdowns. They always just gave it to Kyron when they were inside the 5-yard line. But ever since they got Devontae Adams, they've just been doing the exact same thing that everybody's been doing with Devontae Adams, which is give Devontae Adams the ball at the goal line. And I think Matthew Stafford, the biggest change in his production in terms of a fantasy quarterback, he's throwing touchdowns. He's thrown in those top 5 quarterback finishes. He's had 3 touchdowns in, 4 of the 5 games. And he's had 5 touchdowns against Jacksonville, 4 against New Orleans. He just likes to throw the ball right now. And that's a significant boost, and obviously that's not great for Kyron. When it comes to it, because Stafford, he's 81% rostered right now, but he's 48% starting for a lot of leagues. So I'm going to bring up a couple quarterback names, and let's see if you can guess who averages more points per game, and see if you could guess whether or not you should be actually starting Stafford over these names. All right. So Stafford currently scores 20.4 points per game in PPR formats and half PPR, which is pretty good. Is it better than Jalen Hurts? Do you think Jalen Hurts is scoring more or less?
I think Jalen Hurts is scoring more.
I would have said Jalen Hurts is. He's in mid. I feel like Jalen Hurts has been the mid QB to start the season, but I haven't honestly paid attention more recently to their games and how well they're doing. Shoot, I'm gonna go with my initial thoughts again. Stafford higher.
Jalen Hurts is higher by 1 point.
Oh man, well,
look, I'm cheating because I own Jalen Hurts, but
He's QB8, Stafford's QB9. Bo Nix.
Oh, that's so
I
hard.
feel like Bo Nix has had some bad games, but he's
had really
showed
good
up when
ones
he's
too.
Needed to. Yeah,
I'm gonna say Stafford though. I feel like there's too many bad to mid games from Bo Nix.
I'll go with Stafford too.
Bo Nix is ahead by 0.2.
Oh,
0.2.
oh, come on.
Very comparable.
Close together.
I think if you had them both, it's more of a situational start between those two. Last but not least, Baker Mayfield.
Oof.
I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield's. Oh, what?
His last 3 games have been kind of.
Because he's lost his weapons in the last couple games, but
yeah.
It was looking just like the usual Baker, like the first few.
He was looking like an MVP guy.
But
this has to be Stafford right here. If it's two hires, then Stafford. This gotta be
Who knows?
That's
Game
what I'm thinking too.
cruel.
Is Baker really 2 slots better than him?
This is about to be 0.1.
It might actually line up. I'm gonna go Baker higher.
Stafford's higher than Baker by 3 points. Baker is averaging 17.8 points per game, and Stafford is averaging 20. So, that's...
Really?
Yeah. Baker's QB 12, which is not bad, but I believe you drafted him maybe in the 5th or 6th round, and, it's a little bit disappointing right now. He was doing really well, but he faces a very tough matchup. New England, Buffalo, Rams, Arizona, all of them are kind of bottom defenses for quarterbacks. So maybe it's time to consider the pivot. All right, let's go to our running back category for the mid report. This is the running back 25 on the season. He is averaging 9.76 points per game in half PPR. He's had 2 top 5 fantasy finishes, but every other game he's finished RB19 or worse. Worst of all is the fact that this was actually a very high pick. He was drafted in the 3rd or 4th round in most leagues. Who is this running back? This mysteriously mediocre running back?
Oh man.
9.76 PPR.
2 top
PPR,
5.
My initial guess is
I'm sorry. 2 top 10 fantasy finishes.
2
so
top
maybe
10?
that'll
Top
help.
10?
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually changes a lot. Well, my first guess would have been Tony Pollard, but he's been I think he's just been RB19 or worse.
I think
or
he's
right
super
around
mid. I think he's
every
straight
single
like
game.
Mr. Mediocre.
Oh
almost.
man.
Yeah, he's too mid for this even.
Yeah, too mid.
But 9.76. Well, it is half.
Man,
PPR,
I feel like
so.
3rd or 4th. I feel like this is Chase Brown. This might be Chase Brown. And
I feel like Chase Brown was drafted higher, 1st or 2nd this year, in most drafts at least.
That's just my first lean.
All right, we'll give you Chase Brown. Let's say Chase Brown for Jamar.
Maybe he's what's his face? Kenneth Walker. Because it's just been so muddled up there in Seattle. But I feel like Kenneth Walker is doing better has had more games better than RB19. But I'm struggling to think of other running backs for it. It's definitely not Tony Pollard, although he's very, very, very mid. I'm just going to go with Kenneth Walker. Just tell us who it is, Matt.
Mr. Kenneth Walker is your running back mid nominee.
Oh, shoot. Surgical.
Very
there,
good
man.
job, Brian. Very good job.
He's cheating. I'm just playing.
That was genuinely that was generally a guess over there. I'm just basing purely off of what I've seen. But, I mean, yeah, it matches up.
Well, tell me what you see, Brian, because you guessed it correctly. What do you think is going wrong with Kenneth Walker this year that is frustrating fantasy owners?
I think it's probably like what we were thinking coming into the season, right? Like, what's going to happen was that backfield. Yes, it's a strong offense in Seattle, but it's Kenneth Walker. But you got the Zach Charbonnet in the picture, too. And Zach Charbonnet is looking like a running back who could start for some other teams in the league. And honestly, I haven't paid too close attention to that backfield because I've been paying it, or I don't have those players in any of my leagues there. But I've definitely seen the discourse where it's like, hey, Kenneth Walker is just being like dragged down by having Charbonnet out there. And I think there's been at least a couple games, or at least one game where Charbonnet is doing better than Walker out there. So it's really just, I think, a matter of two good running backs, but in the same offense, they just kind of hurt each other here. They just hurt each other, and yeah, that's where you end up in a position where, yes, we want to draft these QBs earlier on, but they're just not producing right now. Yeah, 9.76, even in the half PPR, that's not what you're looking for out of Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, personally, I faded Kenneth Walker when we were going into the draft. I only drafted him in like 1 out of like 7 leagues that I had, and it's mostly because, one, he gets injured a lot, and he hasn't gotten injured yet, but I think that's a part of why he's getting so little touches. It is frustrating. I've seen some of the games, and if I was a Kenneth Walker owner, I would be pissed, especially at the usage of Charbonnet at the goal line, because for some reason they just give it to him at the goal line. Kenneth Walker hasn't gotten a touchdown since week 3, and that's the last time he finished as the running back
wild.
10. Yeah, and they have the opportunity to use him. He's a he's a decent back, and he's been, his numbers are good, his yards per carry are good. But Charbonnet, I feel like it's a usage thing where they're using Charbonnet because they want to split that backfield. They want to give both of them an equal amount of touches. But I also think it's an injury management thing. They don't want Kenneth Walker to get too hurt, because I think he came into the, preseason with an injury, and maybe Clint Kubiak was like, okay, let's just calm it down. And plus, the Seahawks, they just traded for Shaheed. Maybe they're kind of going into a passing offense. But I don't know. I don't know if you can start him at this point, right?
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's also a reason too, like, they've been a passing offense. Like, I mean, JSN is commanding an insane share of the air yards there. So I feel like part of it too is, right, Seattle just airing it out a lot more this season too, so less work with running backs.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver mid report. This wide receiver is wide receiver 23 on the season in half PPR. He's averaging 10.89 points per game in half PPR. He has 1 wide receiver 3 finish, but all of the other 7 finishes he's had is outside the top 20. This is not a household name. This is not even a guy most people would draft, but he is probably on a lot of rosters, maybe in a bench spot. But maybe he should be in your starting position over some of these other guys out there, and we'll get to that later. This is so hard that I will give you a couple of options for you to choose. Is it A, Troy Franklin, B, Romeo Doubs, C, Hollywood Brown, or D, Khalil Shakir?
Not gonna
Honestly,
lie to you. I don't like any of those options, to be honest.
I have zero. I have zero clue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 23.
He's had 1 really good week. All the other weeks, he's not a top 20 wide receiver.
He was still just a wide receiver 3 in a good week. That's interesting.
And but he averages about 10.
Again?
He has 10 points per game per week. A, Troy Franklin, B, Romeo Doubs, C, Hollywood Brown, D, Khalil Shakir.
Oh man, I feel like out of those 4, I feel like any of those 4, it's. I just feel like it's A, Troy Franklin, that Bo Nix Oregon connection.
This is a complimentary kind of mid, because this guy was so off the radar that no one really drafted him. So now being mid and averaging this many points per game is actually kind of impressive.
I was honestly leaning towards the Troy Franklin direction. The Troy Franklin direction too. Was just like
I feel like it's more. I feel like he's more midder than that. It could be. I feel like
it isn't. I feel like it isn't Shakir.
Nah.
But between Dobbs and what was the third option? Oh, Hollywood Brown. I feel like Hollywood Brown's. He's had like a good game, but I don't think he's wide receiver 23 on the season.
Interesting.
But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is him.
All right, lock it in, boys.
One of us has to be right. We gotta go different here.
All right, I'll swap to. You know what? I'll go Hollywood because I feel like Dobbs would have been drafted or like picked. So I'll go Brown.
I'll go Troy Franklin.
Neither of you are correct. It is Romeo Dobbs.
It's Dobbs.
No! Oh my.
Yes, sir. He was not drafted in our money league, in the 10-person league, averaging 10.89 points per game. He had one really great week against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, where he caught 3 touchdowns. He only caught one other touchdown since, but he's been fairly consistent so far. He's not going to win you any leagues, but the last 4 games, 8, 10, 7, 12, not too shabby, and that's all you can say for Green Bay Packers wide receiver. There's been a lot of disappointing Green Bay Packers wide receivers lately, like Golden, but
Golden. And rest in peace, Tucker Kraft.
Rest in peace.
But rest in peace, Tucker Kraft.
Man,
still hurts.
He was looking so good.
Yeah, but the biggest question is not about Romeo Dobbs, who might be on your bench as you speak, but maybe you should start Romeo Dobbs over these players who are, again, either above or below him in points per game. Actually, let me just share who is below him in points per game. Nico Collins is below him in points per game right now. He is averaging 10.67, Dobbs 0.2 more. Brian Thomas is averaging less points than Romeo Dobbs right now. A whole 2 points obvious. Less. Yes. And AJ Brown is averaging 10.29, 0.7 less than Romeo Dobbs right now. Gemmar, let's toss it over to you. Which wide receiver do you believe is going to be better than Romeo Dobbs the rest of the season?
Look, if I had to pick one, it has to be AJ Brown. He is the wide receiver 1 on that Eagles team. The Eagles need to push the ball down the field more, and Devontae Smith can't be the only one to do it. You know, you have to include AJ Brown. You know, you just got to give him the ball, and he'll make something happen. Even though the division's kind of weak right now with Dallas, Washington, they're all losing now, and the Giants. But they still got to keep up with like the other NFC teams to get a higher seed. So they got to score. They got to win more games. You have to include AJ Brown. So that would be my pick.
Well, let me break this down here, right? Nico Collins, I mean, he's quite hurt. He's been hurt. His QB's hurt right now, and it's a young offense. There was the other wide receivers in the room too. I mean, Nico Collins, you probably drafted him high, but I mean, on a week-to-week basis, like at least in the next couple of weeks, I mean, yeah, I'd probably look in Dobbs' direction too. Brian Thomas, this is a player I have in my leagues. Of course, Romeo Dobbs is going to do better than Brian Thomas. BTJ is one of the most disappointing players, I think, of the season. I mean, now he has Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington in that offense. And BTJ's hurt right now as well, so I don't like that direction either. And I would have to agree. AJ Brown is one, not hurt, and the Eagles, yeah, they probably will have to pass it
he
more
is
because
hurt. He has a hamstring injury.
Oh, he has been hurt. Well, still, I feel like the Eagles are gonna. I mean, people have been saying for a while they have to throw the ball more, but clearly it's tougher competition out than previous years too. So I can see him getting more runtime out there and probably doing better than at least these other guys here. Collins. Well, I would say especially Brian Thomas because he. As you can see, I'm quite disappointed with him. But yeah, I'd have to go Brown's direction as well.
Yeah, so like when our quarter season buy or sell and our patience and panic segments, that was week 3 and week 4, and we said to be patient with some of these struggling players, right? Now we're at the mid report. Now we're 5 weeks away from the playoffs. This is the point where, yes, panic, do what you have to do in order to win games. I would hesitate to start Dobbs over Collins, but Sometimes Collins is going to have those bust games. And again, Romeo is not going to have those bust games, apparently. It's not going to be great, but he'll at least guarantee you 6 to 8 points. And sometimes you can't trust Nico to do that, apparently. A.J. Brown, I think easy. The upside's there. The touchdown potential's there. You should start him over Dobbs. Brian Thomas is also that one where it's like, it's going to suck, but he's getting to that point where you can't even play him right now. So you can't wait and see at this point, because if you wait one more week, that could be your season. So I definitely agree with you guys on that. All right. Bonus round, tight ends. Can you name the middle tight end of a 12-team league? Who is the tight end 6 currently in fantasy?
Tight end 6 right now?
You get one guess.
Oh, dude. Oh, why do I feel like it's my boy, OG, Oronde Gadsden?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Does that count? Does he count? I feel like
he counts. He's there.
counts.
He's in there.
Is there?
All right. That's my guess. That's my guess.
I've got some names in my head. Hunter Henry's too low. I feel like Tucker Kraft's injured now. I'm gonna go with like, I don't know, like Hawkinson.
No,
A
there's
worthy
no way.
guess. Unfortunately, both of those guys are below the actual tight end 6, Dallas Goedert.
Oh, touchdown,
That's a
because
good
he has the
pick. Thought about
touchdowns. Yep, he has the touchdowns. Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of yards. He doesn't get a lot of receptions, but he gets touchdowns. That was the 2025 mid report. A lot of surprising names on that list. And now we're going to send it over to you guys, the fans. Go find our social medias at sports_council and vote on Mr. Mid 2025. We've got some great candidates here. You know, Dobbs sounds like the most middling name, honestly, on this list. And I'd probably be voting for him. But, go ahead. I believe Khalil Shakir won last year. And he's the definition of Mr. Mid. He was already nominated, this year. So
The whole wide receiving core is mid.
You know what's going on with Buffalo's wide receivers? That Keon Coleman, great first game of the season, absolutely nothing since then.
I was very close to nominating him too on this list. But yeah. Let's get into our week 10 starts and sits. Week 9, we did pretty good. I think we've been doing pretty good so far. We had maybe a couple hiccups a couple weeks ago, and we finished 9, 6, and 2 overall between the three of us, in me, Gemmar, and G last time. And I don't think we had any major screw-ups. Caleb Williams was a big hit in the quarterback section. Gemmar, you very accurately picked Jacoby Brissett, which felt like a shot in the dark, but you got it.
We're getting better, listeners. Come on now, listen to me now.
Momentum from 0-5 to, getting 1 right, and now you got 2 right this week. So, can you go for 3 for 3? And then Bryant, you're a little rusty. You're coming off a month. Do you think you got it in you?
Yeah, got a lot of picks to recommend over here, so yeah, I'm hoping for a good one. And I guess I might as well start us off. Yeah, for QB, starting with the old QBs. Look, Jared Goff versus the Commanders here. And a lot of you are probably starting Goff already, and they did lose the last game, but, Goff still did extremely well against Minnesota. I think he threw for like 280 yards, and then a couple tutties to boot for that. So even in the loss, Goff is airing it out there, getting the points that you need. And I guess a Washington secondary that, it's Washington. Their defense has not been looking that good over there, so I can definitely see Goff having another strong day against that Washington defense. So don't be discouraged by them losing, even if the points don't quite add up. Goff will have a good fantasy day.
I don't understand how they lost to Minnesota, first of all, but God, I don't understand how Dan Quinn still has a job, more importantly, because what I saw on Sunday night, it was just like, that's the worst defense I've ever seen out there. Darnold literally was perfect. He had a perfect pass rating. He had 4 touchdowns in the first half. They didn't do anything right. And then
he's a
yeah,
defensive coach too, so that's even more of an indictment.
And then it's also the fact that they left Jaden Daniels out there in the 4th quarter, and he got his elbow bent backwards as a result.
Oh, that was
yikes!
That was.
It was just
nasty.
I was screaming. I was like, "Yeah, why didn't you bench starters? That's the thing. Yeah. So
The stars were getting cooked. Jason was like, "Oof, breaking ankles."
yeah, and fuck Jason. God damn it, destroyed my ass.
Target a defense that has incompetent coaching. That's always a good call.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go with my start of the week. We're gonna go with the Wonder Boy Jackson Dart versus the Chicago Bears. That's coming off a look. They won barely. The Chicago Bears won. They're coming off a game where Joe Flacco, a career night, and Jackson Dart's gonna follow that up with another career day of his own. Chicago's been I would say like a below half defense, giving up a ton of passing yards. Even though Dart doesn't have his number one RB, his number one wide receiver, they still got capable weapons like Wandale. Theo Johnson's finding the end zone now. They're getting comfortable. And they still got that pass rush where I think it'll give Caleb Williams trouble, and Dart will get more opportunities to like put up more points. And he has that rushing upside to where he can get a rushing TD. So I could see Dart pulling up, two passing TDs and one rushing. Guarantee it.
Wow. 2 passing, 1 rushing. That's pretty good. I mean, he's done that. He's done that in 3 games so far. There's only 1 game where Jackson Dart hasn't had a rushing touchdown as a starter, and that was against New Orleans. But every single game so far, he's had double digits. He's had over 15 points per game as a starter. He's fantasy gold at this point. And if you picked him up, you are very lucky because you got yourself a surefire start. Yeah. This is the first start quarterback that I like from you, Gemmar. Like,
hey.
What was he doing the last weeks, yo?
He started Jacoby Brissett and Justin Fields. That's what he was doing. This is the most stable one I've seen so far.
I hit on one. We're keep on rolling with this momentum right here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move us on to the running back starts of the week. I am going with either of the Bears running backs versus the New York Giants. I'm copying out a little bit here because I don't really know who the Bears are going to start. I'm fairly certain it's going to be DeAndre Swift and they're going to go back to him. But if Swift is hurt, Kyle Monangai is still a great, start of the week. So either one of them is going to be great. New York is allowing 3rd most points to running backs this season. They are a good running team. Ben Johnson has always been a good running team. He had Montgomery and Gibbs in Detroit, and it seems like he's maybe he'll do a 2-headed beast with Monangai and Swift. In either sense, I think they can run all over them. Christian McCaffrey last week, he had his second 100-yard rushing game against the Giants. They just got nothing there. They didn't make any moves at the deadline, so it's still probably going to be bad. So I'd start either one of them with confidence.
Yeah, if you've been stashing Kyle Monangai, he's been really showing out there. So yeah, you can honestly, even if they play, he probably offers at least some degree of like flex appeal to Kyle Monangai, even if Swift plays. So yeah, that seems like a good matchup.
Yeah.
And then for my start for the running backs, let's look the way of Quinshon Judkins versus the New York Jets. And this is mostly a reaction to the trade deadline today, a trade deadline that apparently I think the GM of the Giants forgot was. Well, he thought it was tomorrow, but it was actually today, so apparently they're panicking in New York, as you do. But Judkins is playing against the New York Jets, who was a big headliner in today's moves over here. As you might have heard already, they have sent Sauce Gardner, cornerback, and Quinnen Williams, an all-pro caliber defensive tackle out of New York. So yeah, who's left on the defense out of New York? If you're Quinshon Judkins, you're running, you don't have Quinnen Williams to stop you out there. And Sauce Gardner is not out there to tackle you if you reach secondary. So definitely like looking in Judkins' direction this week, especially with the lack of defensive assets the Jets have at this point.
Solid. Like Jets, they're clearly sellers. They don't want to compete at all. And I mean, this is a toilet bowl right here. Browns versus Jets. So I assume they're going to try to tank this game.
They're like, we want that number 1 pick right now.
Exactly.
Number 1 indeed. And I can go back to back with this one here. For the wide receiver starts now, I'm gonna go with an old favorite of mine, Michael Pittman versus Atlanta. there might be some hesitation here, right? And Pittman has really come into himself. He's like, I think he's wide receiver 7 or something for this season. So he's a WR1 caliber this season. It's always great to see. And he's going up against an Atlanta defense. And perhaps if you're more hesitant around Pittman, you're like, whoa, hold on. Now, Atlanta's been a solid defense, you know. Pittman's been doing great so far. Is he going to be doing good against Atlanta here? Well, if we look at Atlanta's last couple of games, I think they've been going against Patriots, they've been going against the Dolphins. They've allowed 100-yard rusher, or not a rusher, 100-yard wide receiver in both of those games, although I think Waddle was just shy, like 99. But basically, 100-yard wide receivers with touchdowns in both of those games there too, and Pittman's commanding great lion's share of those receptions at wide receiver for the Colts over there. So just based off the recent track record, I guess Atlanta's a good defense overall. Pittman's going to get his looks. He's going to get his receptions. He's going to get those 50-50 balls, and he will be a good start this week for wide receiver.
And I think the Colts will be mad. They're going to try to get, revenge, kind of bounce back because they had a really bad game against Pittsburgh. Very surprising upset. So I think they'll try to get their licks in against Atlanta.
Yep. And then going off of what Brian said about the trade deadline, we're going to go to your wide receivers start to a newly acquired Seahawk, Rashid Shaheed.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. Versus the Arizona Cardinals. Yes. Newly acquired teammate. And what better way to say hello to your new teammate than giving him the ball, giving him a touchdown, giving him plays to be acclimated in this pass-heavy offense where they have JSN, they have the rookie Toy Horan. Sam Darnold's looking like an MVP candidate. He just came off a great game where he barely missed any passes. And and Rashid Shaheed is a home run hitter. He's a guy to take the top off just to catch deep balls. Pause. But I feel if you need to get your new teammate like acclimated, more comfortable quickly. And the best way to do that is to give him the ball, give him out in space, and just let that ball fly to him.
No, I agree. I mean, there's a reason why you draft like a trade for a guy. And I know that we didn't discuss the trade deadline moves, but this is probably a very good move for the Seahawks as a winning team. I think they'll get him, maybe a deep bomb or two. Yeah, I don't know how many more times Darnold's gonna look off JSN because I think he'll probably still try to target him 20 times a game. But I do think that they have an intention behind this, and it's to stretch the field more. And even if Shaheed catches like one pass, it'll probably be a deep bomb. So it's a usable thing.
Yeah, and having had the great privilege of watching Daddy Darnold throw the ball in college, he has a very strong arm. He's great at the deep ball there, and he's definitely gotten more accurate once he reaches the NFL here. So I definitely like the pick for Shaheed in that new offense there. All right, time for everyone's favorite segment for your tight end, for your start. Not only a start, but the touchdown guaranteed. We're going to go with Theo Johnson of the Giants versus the Chicago Bears. Another one where, Chicago's secondary, their defense, quite vulnerable. They've given up touchdowns in the last couple of games to the likes of Noah Fant, Charlie Kolar. He's on the Ravens if you didn't know he existed.
Jeez.
Yeah, they've been giving up. They gave up a tight end, the touchdown to Charlie Kolar, and sure, Theo Johnson, he's been getting his receptions in with all the injuries, and for the Giants there, he'll get his due. He'll get his touchdown versus the Bears there, so definitely like Theo Johnson this week.
It's a sleeper pick right there, Bryant. I went with a more conventional pick. I went with Mr. Tight End Mid. I went with Dallas Goedert versus the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. Like we said earlier, he is the tight end 6 on the year because all he does is just catch touchdowns. And the Eagles, it seems like they have specific plays in mind to get him a touchdown, whether it's Hurts like lateraling him the ball sideways for, in the end zone for a touchdown, or, he's just kind of running a drag route across the middle. It just seems like Dallas Goedert's like that reliable, dependable guy. And Packers are kind of middle of the pack in terms of tight end defense so far this season, but I don't see a world where you can sit Dallas Goedert, especially if you lost Tucker Kraft like me. And, there's not a lot of startable options at tight end. So definitely go with Dallas Goedert. He's probably going to catch a touchdown. You just know it's going to happen. All right. Now let's move on to our sits of the week. And at quarterback, I've got a maybe controversial sit to some of the people on here because I've got Justin Herbert versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, not my dad. Pray for him. Pray for him. Pray for him.
Madison Beer is going to have to pray for him at the sidelines because it might get ugly on Sunday Night Football. I know that they just take the hits, Trey. Do it for him. But it's just hard to see. I've watched a lot of Chargers games because I am an Amari and Hampton owner. I am an Oronde Gadsden owner. And every time I watch a game, especially against the Titans this week, Justin Herbert's on the ground. He's always on the ground after every passing attempt that he's had. And some of them, it's just like, it doesn't even make sense what happened. Like, the pass was completed a long time ago, but he's still laying down on the ground right there. And that's probably a result of a bad offensive line. I know they've been suffering a lot of injuries so far. Rashawn Slater was hurt in the preseason, and now left tackle, who is already the replacement for the left tackle, Joe Alt, is now out for the year with a high ankle sprain. He got surgery. It's over. It's very depressing, right, Jamar?
This is every year type of thing. Yep.
Yeah. Dude, so I just wonder. Yeah.
Also, literally, like, if you've seen the pictures, he's literally Justin Herbert's bodyguard out there. So yeah, you're right. That's actually that's going to be a major loss, unfortunately, for the Chargers.
Yeah, and against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense with TJ Watt, they're starting to look a little bit more revitalized. They forced 5 turnovers against the Colts last week. Daniel Jones was, back into his former self out there. I think it could get very ugly if the Chargers don't find a way to protect him. Like, they got Trevor Penning from the Saints. I don't know if it's quick enough yet. I have a bad feeling about what's about to happen. If he's already getting hit that much, the Steelers are not the team you want to face coming into next week.
Looking at running back sits for the week, going back, as I did earlier, to that Cleveland and Jets game, and back to the Jets here. Breece Hall versus Cleveland. Bit of a hot take there, but this is mostly, once again, based off of the trade deadline there. And if you saw Breece Hall's reaction to his compatriots, his friends being traded away, he posted like a sad emoji and 3 dot signs, and he deleted that. And then I'm not actually sure if this is true or not, it might just be rumors, but they were saying like he, at the last hour, was like, get me out of here, to put in like a trade request, which of course didn't happen there. Definitely seemed like was not taking the loss of Williams and Gardner very well there. And will it affect his fantasy performance? Is he going to be demotivated? I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say he's might not be as motivated out there too. There's could be even potentially, if it's so bad, there's rumors he could even like sit out at that point. Maybe it's Isaiah Davis season, or maybe I'm just overtly optimistic there. But maybe Breece Hall takes a hit this week, and maybe he'll come back the week after that there. So Breece Hall, Cleveland, as the week develops there, maybe some more news comes out. Yeah, keep an eye. Maybe that's a player to sit this week.
Yeah, he might go with the old hamstring tightness and
questionable designation coming into the game.
Exactly. So I am gonna go with I'm gonna repeat a pick, and I don't like doing that, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to sit Corey Krosky-Merritt versus the Detroit Lions.
Again? That's
not Bill.
Again, and I hate to repeat picks, and I hate because I am gonna say the same things that I said last week. Detroit's a good run defense. Check. JCM is not getting the ball enough. Check. And even if we discount the fact that there's no Jaden Daniels out there, right? Detroit is going to just get mad. Again, they lost to the Minnesota Vikings. They probably shouldn't have. They're pissed. They're going to try to put up at least 30, 40 points on a terrible Washington defense. We already talked about it. Goff is our start of the week, right? So in that case, Washington's going to have to pass the ball with Mariota, which is not great. But even when that happens, Corey Krosky-Merritt's not seeing enough targets out there. In PPR formats, he's virtually not doing anything because he saw 1 target last game. And I think that was the only target given to running backs of Washington the entire game. So I don't know why you could start him. If he can't run against a very good run defense, he's not getting the catches. And he's also not getting enough shares of the backfield because they keep rotating Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols. it's very confusing. I don't know why they traded Brian Robinson away so they could do this. Whole thing in Washington's a shit show right now. So don't start him.
Yeah, fair point. As we said earlier, always start your players against an incompetent team. Seems like what's going on up there in Washington. And going on for wide receiver sits, only one wide receiver sit this week. I guess no one else is confident to sit a wide receiver here. But I'm going to go with a player we've already mentioned at length on this show today, Brian Thomas Jr. And this week he's going against Houston, who has been one of the top, I think they are the number one scoring defense right now, at least on Sleeper.
They are.
So, BTJ, and this is even if he plays this week, but even if he does, right, you got Parker Washington, who did more than BTJ last week. You got Jacoby Myers in town now, so even more mouths to feed taken away from BTJ, and against a top-notch Houston defense, that is not a matchup to be looking at this week here. So, yeah, do not play Brian Thomas, even if he is healthy.
I think we're a very permanent bench Brian Thomas show at this point. It's just like the whole thing. We're just shitting on Brian Thomas in every single part of the show. So, yeah. It's also a bad matchup.
Not my boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll start off with this tight end sit. And I'm sorry, Matt, I have to do it. You're going to sit George Kittle versus the LA Rams. And there's one thing we know. There. Yep. There's one thing we know about divisional games. It gets ugly. And with Sean McVay versus Kyle Shanahan, it's literally a chess match. And it's like, I'll take away your best player. I'll take away your other best player. It's literally going to be a chess match between the coaches. And it's going to involve George Kittle not getting the ball, not getting involved. I just feel like Sean McVay has a plan to not include George Kittle in the offense. Even though, and plus, CMC takes about like 20 carries during the game. That's already getting away touches for George Kittle. And in the last 5 games versus the Rams in divisional matchups, George Kittle hasn't reached like 50 yards in the last 5 games, except for his last one. So it's been a struggle these past few games versus the Rams for George Kittle.
Interesting analysis. I reject it all. I'm starting him. I don't care.
Well, we'll
the
see
people's
who's right.
tight end does not care about your matchup stats.
It ain't tight ends. It ain't tight ends day anymore, Matt. I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter. He's the tight end. Every day is tight end day with George Kittle. All right, but I'm gonna wrap it up here with another controversial pick. No, there's no Colts fans on the podcast, but we are sitting Tyler Warren versus the Atlanta Falcons. This is a bit of a fade because obviously you can't sit a tight end outright, but Atlanta is giving up the least amount of points to tight ends this season. 2.8 points per game to the tight end position.
Good Lord.
Staggering.
Whoa.
1 touchdown in the entire season so far. And again, we're halfway through the season. So this is a very real trend. Don't mess with Atlanta when it comes to tight ends. Again, this might be a game where Daniel Jones looks to the outside more, goes to Michael Pittman. Maybe they're going to get Jonathan Taylor going a little bit more. So just caution when it comes to Tyler Warren. You might not have the day you expect. And that is going to do it for our Week 10 starts and sits. You can find the full list of our starts and sits on our social medias. We post the full list every Saturday afternoon at sports_council. Follow along, see the full list, and ask any questions you want. And then also join the Discord. Link is in the bio. We hand out fantasy advice there. We do polls for the players that you want to start and sit that week. Follow along. Join the conversation. We are always there to help you out. That is going to do it for today's show, guys. We are halfway through the season. Anything in particular you want to see at the end? Get a couple of...
at the end. This is a fantasy podcast. We should all be seeing all of us winning our leagues.
Are we making the playoffs, boys? All 3 of us?
Look, honestly, it's a tight race. I already know that. One of us is gonna be out, and it ain't gonna be me.
Hey, I'm coming back, man. 0-5 to start the season. We got 3 wins in the last, I think, like 4 weeks over there. We're making that comeback. We're gonna make the playoffs here in the podcast league.
Yeah, and will G ever get rid of his losing streak? We will see. I think think he's burning sage right now. He's gotta figure it out, man.
He's gotta do what Aaron Rodgers did. Lock himself in a cave. Dark therapy.
I think that's what he's doing right now. He hasn't said anything in a very long time. So I'm gonna go check on him. But we will see you guys later.
See ya.